Patrick, we started this month off with a really exciting community call about the Darwin EU project. Certainly, this was something that came about in or was announced in February, but it was nice to be able to hear Peter discuss it and have really a great crowd on our community call get to listen to what has happened and certainly what they're planning on doing. Just when you reflect on that call and all the information, what stands out to you about the potential of the Darwin EU initiative?
It was wonderful to have Peter Rijnbeek join our Odyssey community call to share the progress that's being made with Darwin EU. And this is an EMA-led initiative to try to support regulatory decision-making in real-world evidence. And the Darwin EU project, the coordinating center at Erasmus MC, will be using the OMOP Common Data Model and the Odyssey tools as a mechanism to try to generate reliable evidence to support regulatory decision-making. This is a large 5-year effort that's really just underway. But what's really exciting to see is how many different Odyssey collaborators are all coming together towards this huge impact to public health and the opportunity, and also to see the opportunities for our broader Odyssey community to be able to come together and actually support the Darwin EU team in thinking about how do we evolve our data standards, how do we conduct methods research to establish better best practices, and how do we develop better open source tools so they can be applied to the use cases within Darwin EU and to support their efforts.
Can you just talk about the overall mission of Darwin EU and why, what the EMA is hoping to get out of this project?
Yeah, I think it's a great showcase of how different stakeholders can come together to support, what we all think is a common good to improve public health. The EMA has a regulatory mandate to be able to monitor the safety of medical products that are marketed across the European Union. And real-world evidence is a great opportunity for them to be able to learn more about disease natural history and study treatment utilization trends across the whole of Europe, as well as to study the safety and effectiveness of the medical products that are out there. And right now, the EMA doesn't have a systematic capability of generating this evidence, and Darwin EU is an effort to establish a European-wide data network, apply consistent analytic tools, and actually try to really leverage the use of real-world evidence throughout many decision-making processes across the member states. And so I'm really excited that Odyssey gets an opportunity to contribute, and I'm really thankful for Peter Rijnbeek's leadership and Danny Prieto and the entire team that's putting together this effort to really realize the value of real-world evidence for regulatory decision-making.
Yeah, you mentioned the word leadership, and it reminds me of another fun event this past month, and that was our second Odyssey Leadership Summit. It's great to have a new work group in the eye care and vision research work group join that summit. But again, a great opportunity to come together and talk about best practices and what's going on and hear updates from different work groups. What stood out to you about that event?
So this year in Odyssey, we're really trying to empower all of our work groups to be able to advance their own individual objectives and to advance the broader Odyssey mission. And so I think the opportunity to bring our leaders from our work groups together to share best practices about how to establish a culture and a community that can inspire others who are contributing their time to this broader public cause is really helpful. And I think what I learned a lot from listening to the objectives and key results is how different folks are motivating teams in different ways to advance scientific excellence, development standards. We're all struggling with trying to figure out the right way to really build this community to be exactly what it could be. But so many people are passionate about the mission that we're trying to advance. It was really exciting. It was really also nice to hear from Sally Baxter and Carrie Gertz talking about the eye care and vision research work group, one of our newest work groups, and the excitement that they've brought within this particular clinical domain and the real opportunities that they've showcased for using observational data for vision research. And I'm really keen to see other collaborators join in these clinical specialty areas. Paul Nagy talked about how clinical subdomains is a real opportunity for us to actually improve the impact within our community. And I'm excited to see the work group leaders working together towards making that happen.
Over the past couple of months during these podcasts, we've talked about different aspects of the upcoming Odyssey Symposium, from the all-day tutorial, work group activities. Certainly, the main conference we haven't even touched on, but we'll get there. But I thought this month would be a great time to talk about the collaborator showcase. Obviously, the deadline for brief reports is coming up June 24th. So still a few weeks, but we're getting there. But it's such an important part of the annual symposium. And this year, with us being back in person, it'll be so nice to be able to walk around and see posters and hear lightning talks and see the software demos. Can you just talk about kind of the importance and the value of the collaborator showcase, especially for an in-person symposium, and what you're excited about for this year's?
I think every year our collaborator showcase is really the true showcase of our Odyssey Symposium, and it's because it's the opportunity for our researchers across our community to share the progress that they're making, to identify and stimulate collaborations, to disseminate the evidence that they've generated, and really to spark future collaborations about where work can go. I think this year, it's particularly important, given that we'll actually be together in person, that we have a tremendous opportunity to network. Within our collaborative showcase, we have opportunities for software demonstrations, for poster presentations, and for lightning talks. But I think the most important thing is actually just for everybody to be able to see and learn from each other, and engage with each other in a meaningful, impactful way that I don't think can ever be replaced without just being together in a room together. So I'm really excited for this. Our collaborative showcase deadline's coming up this month, and I'm really eager. One of my favorite times of the year is when I'm able to actually review those initial submissions, to see all the exciting work that's happening from all around the world, and to think about how we can actually accommodate these presentations so everybody can take advantage of learning from each other. So I'm looking forward to the submissions coming in this month, and eager to see the event unfold in October.
Yeah, I know we already have a number of really excited volunteers to get into the scientific review committee and see all of the submissions. Last 2 years, over 100 submissions apiece, and excited about what could be. I know this coming month we have the Odyssey European Symposium, the first true in-person event for the community since the pandemic. I know you'll be there. I'm sure you're excited just to have an event like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time to bring together many stakeholders, primarily in our European region, but it'll really be just great to be in person and hanging out and learning from the progress that's been made and thinking about where we could actually go together as a community.
Several great community calls as well. So events are happening as we move into the summer, and certainly getting closer to the Odyssey Symposium in October. Thanks, Patrick.
All right, thanks, Craig. Science.